My guests are Ron Watts and Roy Cundiff. They are here today to tell us about the Breakaway to the Beach bike ride. Did I get it right?
That's correct.
All right. Welcome, gentlemen. Ron, you're the mayor of Sunset Beach, but you're wearing your biker's hat today. Am I right?
That's correct, Jim.
All right. Thanks for being with us. Let's tell our viewers very briefly what is MS.
Without getting into the real scientific side of it, it's just a disease that impacts from the brain to the functions of the body, and it can impact people different ways. But the MS Foundation has used bike rides as a charity way to raise funds for their purposes, primarily for research throughout the country.
It's a fantastic effort. We spoke a little bit before we went on the air, and I learned a lot already. Roy, tell us, this is the 30th annual Breakaway to the Beach bike ride.
That's correct. This ride called Breakaway to the Beach has been going on for 30 years. And this is the second year that it's going to headquarter, we'll say, at Sunset Beach or at Sea Trail. Last year, we had 500 and some cyclists, bicyclists, who raised $430,000.
It's just utterly amazing. And I have to correct myself so our audience will know this is a bike ride and not a motorcycle ride.
That's correct.
Right. I was also astounded to note that you and your group last year raised several $100,000 in this one event. Am I right?
That's correct. Over 430,000, I think, is the official count. And this year we're hoping for about $550,000.
Well, that's astounding. Tell us how you do it.
Well, the ride is broken down in a two-day event. The first day, the event, there are 4 rides within it, a 30, a 50, a 75, and a 100-mile ride, and a cyclist can decide which ride he or she wants to make of it. The 100-mile cyclist on the first day goes out to Lake Waccamaw and loops around, and the shorter rides are within that. And the second day, it goes into Cherry Grove and out through Myrtle Beach, into Columbus County, or Horry County into Columbus County, and then back in.
Various rest stops,
yes,
all right?
Correct. We have 14 rest stops, one about every 10 to 14 miles, somewhere in there.
And I bet you have men and women of all ages.
Yeah, as I understand, there are 58 or 60% men that do the ride, and a little over 40% women who also do the ride. Great. So, which is a good breakdown of it.
Yeah. Ron, I want to mention the when, where, what information several times so our viewers will get it. Let's talk about the dates first.
It's October 17th and 18th. It's Saturday and Sunday in mid-October. It's based at Sea Trail Resort in Sunset.
So the bikers will leave and return to Sunset.
They'll check in Friday afternoon, and then the event is Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Right. Are you riding?
I am. This will be my first year riding. My wife has done it before, so we're looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Tell us where the riders come from. They come from all over?
Yes, most of the riders come from the 2 Carolinas, although we have a number coming from as far as Virginia, Georgia. I rode with a couple last year from Colorado, and I know there were others from far away. So a lot of the people who are bicyclists just left to ride and left to support MS. So they will come as far as necessary, and they love this ride because of the scenery here and being at the beach.
Right.
So they really enjoy it.
Do you have a police escort in front and behind, or how does that work?
We have a police escort that starts the ride out each day, and there are volunteer firemen or policemen at the major intersections, so there will be no problem. Mm-hmm. And then as a rule, there will be policemen along the way from the various counties traveling along with the cyclists at a slow speed, warning the motorists coming in that there are bicyclists on the route.
Good. Now, I'm jumping around on you because there's so much to tell, but I do want to mention your need for volunteers, especially medical volunteers. Ron, could you speak to that?
We'll use well over 200 volunteers during the course of the weekend. We would primarily like to find medical volunteers. Ideally, we'd have one at each rest stop to help with the minor aches and pains that the riders will have. But we can also use people helping us at the CTO Conference Center with registration, with putting fruits and vegetables out. We've got groups that volunteer to run rest stops, but some of them can use some additional help as well.
let's say I want to ride. I do have a bike. What do I do?
Well, you first of all you have to have a helmet. We require that.
Sure.
Definitely, I would suggest you make sure your bike is in good working order, and then there's a registration fee that you must provide, and then you fill out a form as well, and then you're required to raise a minimum of $350 to do the ride.
Okay. Obviously, a number of you raise a lot more than that.
Oh yes, some people raise thousands of dollars that have been dedicated to this ride. They raise $2,000 or $3,000, or even $5,000 or $6,000 at times.
Roy, how do you raise money? I mean, not to get too personal, but how do you do it?
Well, I live in a retirement community, mostly Sea Trail, and I get $25, $50 from my friends and neighbors.
Yeah.
I still have a couple of corporate sponsors from the days when I used to work, but they're fading pretty fast now. But just asking people is the best way to go. Most of the people that I talk to have some contact with someone who has suffered from MS over the years, and they're willing to help.
Yeah. Ron, it's great for the business community. Let's talk about that.
It is. And first, I want to thank many of them have stepped up and become sponsors of the event themselves this year. The Merchant Association is taking a leading role, and several others have. But this will turn out to, for the town of Sunset Beach, probably be our biggest non-seasonal event. Well over 1,000 people will be here. And that, coupled with the Oyster Festival the same weekend up at Ocean Isle, will just be a terrific attraction to our communities.
So win-win-win.
It is.
Good for the commercial community, good for the hotels and resorts, great for the riders to be here. Right.
Yes, it is.
How about, let's talk about where the money goes. We know it goes to MS, but break that down a little bit for us.
Well, 60% of the money stays in the Carolinas for research. 40% goes to the National Foundation for research as well. As I understand, there are 18,000 people in the two Carolinas who are living with MS.
Wow.
And need support. So that's where the money goes. 60% of it goes to the two Carolinas.
What inspired you to get involved with? What do you first remember?
I've been a cyclist for many years, and back in 1991 I lived in Charlotte and happened to see a brochure that said Breakaway to the Beach. And I said, well, I'll give it a try. So I did a couple of training rides and I was hooked. And then when I started raising money, I realized how many people were involved or were suffering from MS. And that hooked me for sure from then on.
Right.
So I've been doing it. This is my 25th year doing the ride, and I enjoy it every year.
Roy, in addition to the bike ride, you have other events that surround the larger event.
Yes, well, the Sea Trail Convention Center is an excellent place to start and end.
Right.
And on Friday nights, we have a number of things going there. Some of the companies who service cyclists are there. And
Vendors.
The vendor area there with the tents. And on Saturday night, there's a banquet for all the cyclists. As they come in, they can either go straight in or they can go clean up a little bit and come in later. We had a band last year, and I feel we'll have some entertainment this year, probably a band, and the cyclists can relax.
Great camaraderie, huh?
Yes, they're all
a lot of stories
all together.
to tell.
There they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ron, let's wrap this up by reminding our viewers the dates,
Sure.
the time, the place, and we'll go from there.
Again, October 17th and 18th. Registration is Friday the 16th at Sea Trail. If someone's interested in volunteering, just go to the MS website, and we'd love to have you help us out with the event.
Ron, thank you for that information. Roy, let's do the website.
All right. If anyone is interested in volunteering or riding or whatever, they just go to breakawaytothebeach.org and click on the donate, volunteer, ride, or whatever they'd like to do.
Great. Okay. Roy and Ron, thank you. You guys are doing great work. We really appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much.